Hey, I'm Sam, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Fiji. So Fiji is an island country located in Melanesia. It's about 1,100 miles northeast of New Zealand. It's an archipelago and it's made up of more than 330 islands. The population is around 883,000. Majority of these people live on the two major islands, Vitu Levu and Vanuatu. About 3/4 of Fijians live on Vitu Levu's coast, either in the capital city, which is Suva, or smaller urban centres such as Nadi. These areas are quite prominent with tourists, and if you go to Fiji, it's probably one of the places that you're going to go on a holiday. The sugarcane industry is quite dominant in these areas. The interior of Vitu Levu is sparsely inhabited because of its terrain. The majority of Fiji's islands were formed by volcanic activity starting around 150 million years ago. First Austronesians and later Melanesians were the first humans to live in Fiji and inhabit the archipelago. Europeans first visited in the 17th century, and in 1874, after a brief period in which Fiji was an independent kingdom, the British established the colony of Fiji. Fiji operated as a crown colony until 1970. According to the United Nations, climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. These shifts may be natural, such as through variations in the solar cycle, but since the 1800s, humans' activities have been the main driver of climate change, primarily due to burning fossil fuels like coal, oil and gas. Examples of greenhouse gas emissions that are causing climate change include carbon dioxide and methane. These come from using gasoline, or petrol as we call it, so if you're driving a car, or coal for heating a building, for example. Clearing land and forests can also release carbon dioxide. Landfills for garbage are a major source of methane emissions. Energy industry, transport, buildings, agriculture, land use are among the main emitters of climate change for these greenhouse gases. So the first risk that Fiji faces as a result of climate change are rising sea levels, coupled with warmer temperatures due to the climate and stronger El Nino patterns, which have been increasing in later years, as well as the island's susceptibility to deadly food and waterborne diseases. So across Fiji's two main islands, the number of cool nights has decreased and warmer days has increased since 1942. Tropical cyclones are predicted to decrease in frequency and increase in intensity, however. These changing weather patterns have worsened Fiji's susceptibility to viral disease outbreaks. Fiji recorded a drought-induced outbreak of diarrheal disease in 2011, combated a post-flood leptospirosis outbreak in 2012, and quelled a dengue outbreak in 2013. Changing weather extremes threaten the livelihoods of the Fijian people, impacting the island's ecosystems on land and at sea. Saltwater intrusion from coastal flooding destroys farmland, disrupting the supply of staples in the Fijian economy and forcing communities to migrate to safe ground. These damages sustained to Vitu Levu, as I mentioned earlier, the main island, Fiji's most populous island, total some $52 million per year, or 4% of Fiji's GDP. In 2012, residents of Vanuatu became the first to begin relocating due to the impact of rising tides. So, areas of population in Fiji are already having to move due to rising sea levels. Countering the crisis will require collective action from the Fijian government, the nation's private sector, and the world's industrialised nations such as Australia, the United States, China, India, etc. Fiji remains at the front line in advocating international policies to counter climate change, but internally the nation lacks sufficient technical expertise, human resources and financial capacity to fully implement protective measures. The private sector, other government and international finance institutions can play key roles in helping Fiji mobilise financing to implement integral climate adaptation measures.